Hello and welcome to my channel Happy Hours. In the last video, I discussed about the fundamental duties, the part 5 of the Constitution, Union, about the President, its qualification. So today I'm going to discuss about the election of the President, its term of office, impeachment and powers to the President. So let us proceed with the first topic, which is the election of the President. Election of the President, there are two ways. First is mentioned in the parliamentary law, that is the President and the Vice President of the Election Act. According to the President and Vice President Election Amendment Act 1997, the security deposit of the presidential candidate is rupees 15,000. A person, if he or she will not be able to get 1/6 of the valid votes, then the security deposit will be forfeited. The name of the presidential candidate has to be proposed by 50 electors and seconded by another 50 electors. The returning officer for the presidential election is the Secretary General of the Lok Sabha or the Secretary General of the Rajya Sabha in the rotation. Now we should know the other way, that is the constitutional provisions, for which we are going to study article number 54, 55 and the article number 71. Now who is going to elect the president, we should know. It is mentioned in the article number 54 that they are elected by the electoral college, where electoral college equals to elected MPs plus elected MLAs. The nominated member and the MLCs do not take part in the election of the president. These nominated member for the Rajya Sabha and nominated member of the State Legislative Assembly. The MLAs of Delhi and Puducherry were given the right to vote in the President's election by the 78th Amendment Act 1992. Now, what is the process of election? We should know. Now, process is also mentioned in the article number 55. The President is elected by the system of proportional representation with the single transferable vote. In the proportional representation system, a candidate is to get a quota of vote, which is equal to the total number of valid votes divided by 2 plus 1. Now, we should know what is the value of the vote. Value of the vote of one MLA equals to total population of the state divided by total number of elected MLAs into 1/1000. Whereas the value of the vote of one MP equals to total number of votes of all the elected MLAs divided by total number of elected MPs. The value of the votes of MLAs differ from state to state, whereas the value of the votes of the MPs of both the houses is the same. By this we understand what is the value of the vote. Now there is another topic which is disputes related to the president's election. Suppose there is a dispute, who is going to be the judiciary? So in this, article number 71 said that all the doubts and the disputes arising out of or in the connection with the election of president or the vice president shall be inquired into or decided by the Supreme Court, and the decision shall be the final. So the Supreme Court is only going to decide everything. In a note, we can understand the article number 71 clause 2 holds that if the election of a person as a president is declared void by the Supreme Court, then the acts done by him in exercise of the powers and duties of the office of the president on or before the date of the decision of the Supreme Court not to be invalidated by reason of the declaration. Means it is not going to affect his work. The whatever work he did is not going to be declared as null. Now we should know what is the term of office of a president. We all know it is for 5 years from the day he enters into the office. The president may resign by sending his resignation to the vice president. He has to give a resignation letter to the vice president, and this resignation letter is going to be addressed to the vice president, is going to be communicated to the speaker by the vice president in the Lok Sabha. And the president is eligible for re-election Under Article number 60, every president and every person acting as the president or discharging the functions of the president before entering upon his office has to make and prescribe the oath in the presence of Chief Justice of India. In absence of the his on his absence, the senior most judge is going to take the oath, give the oath to the president. All the oaths are mentioned in the third schedule, but only the president oath is mentioned in the article number 60. Now, there is one very important topic, that is the impeachment of the president. Under article number 61, process of impeachment is mentioned, and the ground is the violation of constitution, and this is nowhere mentioned in the constitution. Now we should know what is the process. The resolution is this regard can be introduced in either of the house of the parliament, either in the Lok Sabha or in the Rajya Sabha. The resolution to be supported by at least 1/4 of the members of the house at the time of its introduction, and the 14 days notice to be given to the president. The resolution to be passed by the house after the lapse of 14 days by a majority of not less than 2/3 of the total strength of the house. And after the resolution is passed by the house, it is transmitted to the other house. The other house acts as the investigating house. The other house can investigate the charge itself, or else cause the charge to be investigated. Either itself it is going to investigate, or it can ask other to investigate. The president has the right to be represented or defended by an advocate of his choice. In the other house also, the resolution is passed by a majority of not less than 2/3 of the total strength of the house, and by that time the president stands impeached. Till now it never happened in our country. So it is a quasi legal process. Why it is a quasi legal process? Because there is no judge, no advocate involved. Exactly, we are not having a fully legal process. Only in few process the legality is coming. Now we should know what are the power of the functions of the president. So there are particularly 6 power to the president. One is the executive, then legislative, then judicial, then emergency, military and diplomatic. Under the heads, we are going to discuss the power one by one. First one is the executive power. It is the article number 53 clause 1, where it is mentioned that the power is vested in the president. He has the powers to appoint or remove, even from the PM to the all officials. Now the legislative power. The president under article number 79 is an integral part of the parliament. The president gives assent to the bill passed by the parliament. He summons and prorogues the sessions of the parliament. He dissolves the Lok Sabha. He nominates 12 members in the Rajya Sabha. The president under article number 86 clause 1 may address either house of the parliament or joint sitting of the houses, and for that purpose require the attendance of the member. Under article number 86 clause 2, the president may send messages to either of the house of the parliament, whether with respect to a bill pending in the parliament or otherwise. Under article number 87 clause 1, the president addresses the joint sitting of the both houses of the parliament at the commencement of the first session after each general election to the Lok Sabha, and at the commencement of the first session of each year. Under article number 123, the president has the power to promulgate ordinances during the recess of the parliament. Recess is the time when there is a gap in between the two sessions of the parliament. Now what is the ordinance? Parliament is not in the session. Suppose an urgent law has to be passed. Then the ordinance is promulgated. Ordinance making power of the president is under the article number 123. The president can promulgate an ordinance at any time except when both houses of the parliament are in session. That is, an ordinance can be promulgated even if one house is in session. An ordinance promulgated under article number 123 shall have the same force and effect as an act of the parliament. An ordinance has to be approved by or rectified by both houses of the parliament within 6 weeks of the reassembly of the parliament, where the houses of the parliament are summoned to reassemble on different dates, the period of 6 weeks to be considered from the latter of the both dates. Now we should know the next power, that is the judicial power. Under article number 72 clause 1, the president has the power to grant pardon, reprieve, respite or suspend or commute the sentence of any person convicted of any offence. The president's power under the article number 72 clause 1 is in all cases where the sentence is by a court martial. Also, it is also in all the cases where the punishment or sentence is for an offence against any law relating to a matter to which the executive power of the union extends. It is also in all the cases where the sentence is a sentence of death. Now this is the clemency power of the president. The clemency power or the mercy petition of the president is not a privilege that is enjoyed by the president, but this power has to be exercised keeping in view the various aspects analyzed by the statement. Now we are going to analyze this statement, that why this is called as the clemency power and it is not being enjoyed by the president. Like whenever there is an application given by someone, it is not like that there is going to be another judgment process. It is just the application is being forwarded by the person who is being in the prison, who is asking for grant. So he is going to present an application with the document support to his mercy petition, and this is going to be forwarded to the president. The president is going to forward this to the subordinate, means union home minister. From there it is going to proceed to the state home minister, and the state home minister is going to prepare a report on it. Then only again it is going to, through the same process, it is going to move, like it is going to move to state to union home minister, then to the president. So it is not very easy, or it is not something very enjoyable. It is a very big and lengthy process. So we can say like that. Now we can know what is the Supreme Court opinion about the mercy petition. In the Supreme Court, in the Kehar Singh versus the Union of India Case Act, held that the grant of pardon by the president is an act of grace and therefore cannot claimed as the matter of right. The power exercisable by the president being exclusively of the administrative nature is not justiciable. It can also be considered as the administrative power of the president, as there are no judicial procedure followed. We can say that it is not be claimed, it is just the mercy of the president. So you cannot claim that yes, I have you have to give pardon to me. Now we should proceed with the next power, that is the emergency power. The president has the power to proclaim national emergency under the article number 352, state emergency in the state under the article number 356, and the financial emergency under the article number 360. The next one is the military powers. The president is the supreme commander of the defense forces and has the power to declare war or peace. Next and the last is the diplomatic power. The president appoints the Indian diplomats to the other countries, and he receives the ambassadors or the high commissioner of the other countries posted in India. an ambassador designate or a high commissioner designate, or it termed as ambassador or high commissioner only after the presenting the credential to the president. Now we should know the difference between the ambassador or the high commissioner. Ambassadors are the representatives of non-Commonwealth countries such as US, China and Nepal, whereas High Commissioners are the representative of Commonwealth countries such as Australia. With this I am concluding. Thank you.